You know, by the way, they're working so hard, and you know, everything. Is this a great band up here or what? That is the Park Avenue Band. Make sure you check out their site, buy their stuff. Hey, listen, I met this guy in Fort Wayne when he was up there for an activity a couple of years ago, but Jim Bopp is vice chairman of the Republican National Committee and general counsel for the James Madison Center for Free Speech. He is a native of Terre Haute, Indiana. He holds a degree from IU and a degree from the University of Florida. We'll forgive one in light of another. He has served as the general counsel for the National Right to Life and as the special counsel for a group you might heard of, the Focus on the Family. He is also an attorney who has testified numerous times on campaign finance reform before both the U.S. House and the Senate. Please welcome a Hoosier that loves his state and loves his country. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Bopp Jr.
I feel like I have to dance. Thank you so much, and I could not be prouder to be here today. All of my life I have fought for the advancement of the conservative cause, from organizing my high school for Barry Goldwater in 1964, to leading the Young Americans for Freedom at IU, to representing major conservative national groups from my Terre Haute law firm, such as National Right to Life, Focus on the Family, the American Federation for Children, Susan B. Anthony List, National Organization for Marriage, and many others. And now being your representative, the 3 representatives on the Republican National Committee elected by our state party to represent you, where I serve as Vice Chairman of the RNC and as Chairman of the Republican National Conservative Caucus, an organization of RNC members dedicated to promoting conservative policies at the Republican National Committee. Now, like many of you, this is part principle and part personal. My wife, Tina, and I have 3 daughters who have now all settled in Indianapolis. One's a lawyer, one's a charter school teacher, and one's a nursing student. And we now have our first grandchild on the way. Just like you, we want their lives to be better than ours. But this dream is under major assault. We have elected the most radical left-wing president in our nation's history. And he is leading our nation on the road to socialism. That means radical redistribution of wealth, government control of every aspect of our lives, massive government spending and debt. As a result, we have a wounded and struggling economy, and too many people cannot find a job. When Richard Lugar was elected to the United States Senate 36 years ago, sold his house in Indiana, moved his family to Washington, D.C., things were different. We had President Carter's malaise, and we had his incompetence. But soon thereafter, Ronald Reagan was elected President of the United States. And he set things right. Back then, we could afford Lugar's moderate, bipartisan approach. Now our way of life is directly threatened by powerful forces in Washington, D.C. Now is not the time to join hands with them, but to defeat them. It is like this. Obama is driving a car at 90 miles an hour straight over a cliff into the abyss of European-style socialism. Lugar's approach is to get in the car with him, maybe hold his hand, just slow it down a little, maybe to 35 miles an hour, but the car still goes straight over the cliff. What we need now is a consistent conservative who is a fighter. We don't want a politician who will join hands with Obama as he pursues his socialist agenda. We need someone to defeat his policies. We need someone who will jump in that car, grab the steering wheel, and turn that car around onto the direction of more freedom, less government, free enterprise, family values, a strong national defense, and our constitutional liberties. That man is Richard Mourdock. When Senator Lugar returned to Indiana a year and a half ago, he could see that things had changed. So he thought to reinvent himself. But he cannot escape his 36-year record in the United States Senate, supporting earmarks, bailouts for the automobile industry, voting for liberal Supreme Court justices, opposing the Second Amendment and right-to-life measures. He cannot escape the fact that in 2009, President Obama's first year in the presidency, Senator Lugar was rated the second most liberal Republican in the United States Senate. No one says that Lugar has voted wrong every time, but he has just voted wrong too many times. Now, a good way of knowing the difference between two is who has endorsed them. Lugar has been endorsed by the lunch pail Republicans. You may not have heard of this group, but it's a front group for labor union bosses who opposed Indiana's adoption of right to work. Do they represent what we want in a public official? No! Now, Lugar is endorsed by the log cabin Republicans. Well, this is a group dedicated to undermining marriage between a man and a woman. Do they represent what we want in a public official? No! Now, Lugar is also endorsed by groups representing business. Now, we are all pro-business. We're pro-business too. But we never said that Lugar has voted wrong every time. Well, Lugar is also endorsed by Governor Mitch Daniels. Of course, we all agree that Mitch Daniels has been one of the finest governors that we have ever had in the state of Indiana. He has done more to help our state and our people than any person in our history. Now, Senator Lugar is Governor Daniels' mentor because Governor Daniels worked for many years in Senator Lugar's Senate office in Washington, D.C. And they have become lifetime friends. Now, we admire people who are loyal to their friends, and we admire Governor Mitch Daniels. But for us, this is not about friendship. This is about policy. And finally, Richard Lugar has been endorsed by all the liberal papers in the state of Indiana. Do we want a public official that the liberal media wants? No! Well, Richard Mourdock has been endorsed by a who's who of the advocates for conservative issues, who are looking for a conservative fighter. And they represent every facet of the conservative movement. National Review and the American Conservative Union. How about Indiana Right to Life? Gary Bauer's Campaign for Working Families. Beverly LaHaye's Concerned Women for America. Phyllis Schlafly's Eagle Forum. And then there is former Indiana Congressman Chris Chicola's Club for Growth. Grover Norquist's Americans for Tax Reform, and Dick Armey's Freedomworks. And how about the National Rifle Association and the Gun Owners of America? and also the Homeschool Legal Defense Fund, Americans for Legal Immigration, and Term Limits for America. But last but not least, Richard Mourdock has been endorsed by hundreds of grassroots Tea Party organizations in the state of Indiana. And almost 3/4 of the elected Republican county chairmen throughout this state. And I think that Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Michelle Mockman, Mark Levin, Herman Cain, and Rick Santorum, I think all of them know a conservative fighter when they see one. So while Senator Lugar has had a distinguished career of public service since beginning in 1964, he has served for over 48 years as a public servant and is a decent and honorable man. It is just time for a change, because it is time for a new direction. Just going along and getting along with the Obama administration's march to socialism only gets us there, maybe a little slower. What we need is a conservative fighter who will make sure that we never get there. And that person is Richard Mourdock.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.